The views or opinions expressed on Ann Arbor Inclusive do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the City of Ann Arbor and the Commission on Disability Issues. For more information about the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, please visit a2gov.org/disability resources.
Hello, I'm Tom Holtland. Welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive. Today, I'm pleased that we will be talking about mental illness. The National Institute of Mental Health reports that 1 in 4 adults, approximately 57 million Americans, will experience a mental health disorder in a given year. Mental illnesses are serious medical illnesses. They cannot be overcome through willpower and are not related to a person's character, intelligence, upbringing, or personal weaknesses. Mental illness can affect persons of any age, race, religion, or income. The best treatments for serious mental illnesses today are highly effective. Between 70 and 90% of individuals have significant reduction of symptoms and improved quality of life with a combination of pharmacological and psychosocial treatments and supports. I'm very happy that we are joined today by the Executive Director of the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Washtenaw County, Judy Gardner. But before we meet Judy, let's take a look at the video she brought with her.
Office building.
We offer programs to teach about mental illness.
Christina Linguidi.
We offer programs to help guide you to treatment for mental illness.
Photos of staff and volunteers.
Community advocacy opportunities. We offer volunteer opportunities. There's so much that we offer, and if you want to become an advocate for mental illness or you want information on it, I would say that we have it.
I'm involved with
Patricia Doyle.
The 12-week family education class. It's called Family to Family. It really has an impact on families because it gives them the knowledge and reassurance and the help they need to support their loved one.
Office building.
I'm also involved in the Mental Health Treatment Court, which is a jail diversion project.
Washtenaw County Courthouse.
And for that, it gives the participants a treatment plan and support rather than criminalizing their mental illness.
I'm a part of Ending the Silence, and the importance behind that is just speaking out about people that are struggling with
Ruerat with his puppy.
Some sort of mental illness, whether they have something that they're struggling with and they don't want to go to a peer, go to someone else to talk about, and like the impact of going and telling people and just like showing that it is okay to talk about the struggles is pivotal.
Group photo at conference.
Spoke one time to about 100 youth.
Allison Payne.
And within 2 days of our giving a presentation, 3 people came forward and self-identified as being suicidal and sought help through their school counselor. So the mission of all of these programs is to educate such that a person feeling that they may have a mental health condition knows that they're not alone, they know that it is treatable and that there is hope, and we try to provide information as to where they can find some support and some resources. It's very, very powerful. It's powerful for the youngsters, it's powerful for the parents and for the teachers to then feel empowered that they know where to reach out to.
NAMI has a lot of credibility.
Mark Creekmore, PhD.
Unlike service providers, we have no financial gain or professional gain to be gotten from advocating. We also represent the lived experiences of people who receive services. So our voice is very well respected, and we have been able to train people to tell their stories in advocacy situations really well.
We're such a family.
Adam Akuli.
We're a community. We get the job done. We're also passionate about mental health. It's very important, and we do it as a family. And it's very rare to find that in an organization or in a workplace environment.
Peer-to-peer is amazing because it's basically an educational program that helps to bring people together. It's not a support group, it's not therapy, it's not group therapy, but it's this very supportive environment where we do sincere, uncritical acceptance of each other, and people just learn about their illness and that of others and coping skills and just ways to reach their full potential.
Sometimes people
Barbara Higman.
sort of think, well, that's who you are, that's who you are, you're that mental illness, and that's not the case.
I would describe NAMI as life-changing, really.
Acceptance.
Grassroots.
Hopeful.
Inspirational.
Invaluable.
Logo, the organization, NAMI Washtenaw County.
Judy Gardner, welcome.
Hi, hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So in your words, who is NAMI?
All right, well, NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is the largest grassroots organization in the country that supports those and advocates and also educate those that live with mental illness and those that live in support of those that live with mental illness.
Good, good. So your affiliate in
Yes.
Washtenaw County, what services do you provide in our community?
Well, what we provide are family education, peer education. We also have an advocacy efforts for the state and local level, as well as the federal level. And we do support groups, and we also have a crisis line that people can call if they're just in trouble and not really sure where to go. Meaning in trouble is feeling sad or just really living with a mental illness and not sure where to turn to or who to turn to.
Right.
And so we encourage those people to call us, and we can either find a support group for them, families, we can find an education group for them, or we might have to advocate on behalf of someone.
Right.
Okay.
Now these education programs,
Yes.
What are they?
Okay.
What are the topics?
We have Family to Family, which it's a 12-week program, and we offer that to families or individuals who are living in support of a family member or spouse or sibling that lives with a mental illness.
Right.
And what we cover in this class are just aspects about mental illness, what that means. We talk about medications. We talk about how to communicate with our loved one. We talk about self-care for caregivers. Every week of the 12 weeks, there's a topic of conversation.
Okay.
And when participants find at the end of the 12 weeks, they're much better equipped to navigate resources and the community to find the help that their loved one needs. And oftentimes, more often than not, people leave with a different sense and acceptance of their loved one's mental illness and looking at it differently from less stigmatization. And that's learned through the group as well. So that gives families an opportunity to learn about what this mental illness or mental health or good mental health is. Then we also offer a peer-to-peer program.
Okay.
And peers are, it's peer-led. So in order for you to become a facilitator for peer-to-peer, you have to have a lived experience. And so peers support each other in this 8-week course and learn how to better take care of themselves. Again, resources in the community to support their whatever illness they may have.
Okay.
And sometimes just an interaction with your peers to, it's empowering for those that have gone through our peer-to-peer program. And so we also offer support groups, and support groups are for families or individuals who just need support and be able to come to a safe place to talk about how their lives have been impacted by their loved one, or how their lives are impacted personally if they're living with a mental illness.
Yeah, that peer-to-peer is sort of that been there, done that.
Yes, absolutely.
Concept. That's
absolutely.
really important.
It's very important.
Because sometimes I bet there are folks that meet people for the first time that are like them.
Absolutely. And I think it is empowering for them to see different levels of that a lot of their peers are actually doing fantastic things. Sometimes there's this thought of among peers that I'm not measuring up, or I'm out here alone, and I'm very different.
Oh, that self-doubt.
That self-doubt. So with the peer supports and the peer-to-peer program, those things are discussed, and people leave with a better sense of self, I believe, a truly better sense of self. That's the feedback that we get from some of our peer support facilitators.
I like that.
Yes.
So how does it differ from, if they come to you, how does it differ from a traditional therapist?
Okay. Well, NAMI Washtenaw County is not, we're non-clinical, so we don't provide any type of therapy, or we don't have doctors. We are all individuals, volunteers, a mostly volunteer-led organization.
Okay.
And people volunteer with us because they have either gone through one of our programs or they're also living with a mental illness themselves.
Okay.
And so they become peer facilitators.
Okay.
We do have a small staff, myself and 6 other individuals.
Okay. All right. And so everyone's volunteer?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how can someone join you guys? How can someone become a volunteer?
Absolutely. You don't have to live with a mental illness to be a volunteer.
Okay.
And we like for you to, well, we encourage that though. We encourage that. We also like for people who, just an interest in good mental health and an interest and passion in fighting the stigma around mental illness. So we encourage anyone to join us in any of the volunteer efforts. We have a volunteer form on our website, and I will say to you that our website is under construction, and I guess by the time this airs, it will be, we have launched the new website live.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity to fill out a form and tell us what you're interested in, and we can possibly match you with something that you would be fulfilled at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see someone, I could see it being a benefit if a volunteer experiences
Absolutely.
Mental illness or has a family member or a friend. I think all of us do.
Yes.
You know, and I think that not everyone knows what fits under the umbrella of mental illness.
Absolutely.
Things like post-traumatic stress.
Yes.
And you know, it's not just bipolar.
No.
And so forth. I think
it could be trauma, you know, depression, bipolar disorder, schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And again, like I mentioned, trauma, you know.
You see a lot of people that are at risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they, sometimes there's lost hope because they feel so alone and so stigmatized. And that's what we work to, I guess, combat, is the stigmatization of living with a mental illness.
Well, let's talk about that, because I know there are, as with most disabilities,
Yes.
there are, but especially hidden disabilities.
Yes.
Or invisible, I should say. What are some of the myths and those stigmas that you're talking about that are perpetuated about people with mental illness?
Sometimes people are afraid of someone that lives with a mental illness
Yeah.
because they think they'll be violent, or they're more apt to be violent and have behavior issues, or not intelligent, or can't hold a job, or just going to be difficult. And that is so not true. The majority of our peers that are in recovery, meaning they have managed their illness,
Right.
you wouldn't even know that they live with a mental illness because they're being treated, they're managing their symptoms, and they're just as productive as anyone else in society. And sometimes just someone who is not properly medicated or doesn't know, maybe a family member doesn't understand why their loved one is not acting or acting peculiar.
Right.
Sometimes they're written off by family because family just don't understand, or either they're shamed by the behaviors that their loved one
Right.
shows.
Yeah.
And most times that loved one can receive rehabilitation, medication often, support, and all those resources to help them to live a more productive and feel good about their lives.
Yeah. Going back to the peer support.
Yes.
What types of peer services are there? In other words, do people come and get trained on how to be an effective peer?
They do have that type of training
Okay.
here in the state.
Okay.
We don't offer that type of training, but we do for people who go through our peer-to-peer support, peer-to-peer program.
Yeah.
We often seek people from that program to become future facilitators of that program.
Okay.
And so there's a little bit of a training around that.
Yeah.
But there is something called peer supports. I believe that's through Community Mental Health.
Okay.
That's a little different program, but it's the same idea.
Okay. And you mentioned support groups. Are we
Yes.
talking local?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
We have several support groups locally. We have a new support group that are for parents of suicidal children.
Wow.
And you may not know, unfortunately, in our community there has been an increase in suicides among adolescents. And so that is something that we just formed to help parents identify, and also if they have a suicidal child, to know the signs and symptoms and know when to seek out professional help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be, you said it's fairly new?
It's fairly new.
Yeah.
And the other support groups are adult support groups and young adult support groups.
For different specific?
No, anyone can, it's just, you just show up.
Okay.
We have that information on our website.
Yeah.
You just show up. Now, we don't do anything with youth under 18.
Okay.
It's 18 and over.
All right.
Okay.
But I imagine you could refer younger
Absolutely.
folks to somewhere else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how are you funded?
Okay. Well, we do receive a grant from the Community Mental Health at Washtenaw County, which we are so grateful for.
Yeah.
We also receive a grant from the Flynn Foundation. We had a prior grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield. But most of our funding is through our fundraisers and just membership donations.
Okay.
Okay, and so we look for, all of our courses are family-to-family programs, and our peer-to-peer programs and our support groups are no charge to the individuals. The 12 weeks, no charge, 8 weeks, no charge. But we do solicit donations because these programs do cost us.
Yeah.
They don't cost those who are interested.
So you said fundraising events?
Yes.
What kind of events do you do?
Well, we had our first gala this past spring, and we plan on having one this coming spring in 2019.
Do you have a date yet?
We don't have a date yet, but I can sure let you know. It's going to be sometime in May.
Okay.
So we would love for people to come out to our website and look at, and we'll have the date up soon.
Yeah.
And to come on out and be with us and find out more about what we do. Because we invite, everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
And so it's usually a real nice it was a nice event last spring. It was a nice dinner. It was it was at a, where did we have it at? We had it at a yacht club.
Okay.
And so the scenery was really nice. We had good food. We had music. So it was good. It was really good.
It's always fun to get dressed up.
Absolutely.
And bring folks from the community together and learn about you folks, but celebrate what you've done for the year. I like that.
And we also have a walk. And that's a big piece that we have every year. It's called the NAMI Walks.
So is that tied into like the state chapter? And
yes, it is.
Yeah.
So it is tied into the state chapter, and that's a big walk that's usually, we participate in that. It was at Belle Isle in Detroit for the last couple of years. However, this coming year, we're going to be doing a walk here in Ann Arbor.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah. Do you know when?
We don't know when yet.
Okay.
It will probably take place next fall, fall of 2019. But again, we'll make sure that we put that information out on our website.
Okay, all right. And people go out and individually raise funds based on how much they walk?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And some people want to walk with us. Some people, we would like for people to raise funds. But some people just come out and walk with us, and we have people that raise funds, and we have teams that compete against each other.
Okay.
We have a big kind of pep rally before. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And this year we're hoping to also incorporate people bringing their pets.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're looking, I kind of gave some information out, but we're looking at doing some things that are different and more fun, bringing fun to it.
Now that you say pets, we saw the cute puppy in the video.
Yes.
That the individual, the young man had. Are you seeing, talk about the benefits that people get from their emotional support animals, their animals that, I'm sure you see them come through your doors.
I've seen them quite often. And we have, the national organization has a conference every year, and the state also has a conference, and we have a conference. And I noticed that a lot of people that join us in our conferences, their pets are always welcome.
Yeah.
And I think pets are always soothing to all of us.
Yeah.
But for some people with severe anxiety and depression, the pets are a welcome companion.
Yeah, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Never alone if you have a pet.
Right, right.
Cuddle up with them when
Yes.
you're not feeling good.
I have a pet myself.
Yeah, so do I.
Rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I never get the people who don't.
No,
have
I don't.
pets.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My
he's just a
life
part
would
of the
be-
family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the family for sure.
Yes.
So where are you located, and how do people get more information?
All right. We are located at 1100 North Main Street in the new center building.
Okay.
And we're on the second floor. We have limited office hours right now because everyone's part-time.
Yeah.
So we're open Monday and Thursday from 9:30 to 2:30.
Okay.
And on Tuesdays from 1 to 4. However, we have where you can call and leave a message if you need something, and most of the time we'll check those messages on those days that we are not open.
Yeah.
Anyone is welcome to come in to visit our office. We have, again, resources, brochures, booklets, books. We have a mini library. It's very cozy, and it's very welcoming.
Right.
And sometimes when someone is in recovery and maybe having a little bit of a kind of slipping back a bit, our doors are open for those as well to come in and just kind of sit and relax and talk to our office manager, Barb.
Okay.
She was in the video. She's really good at just helping people kind of navigate and feel better.
Yeah.
You know, so again, we're non-clinical, but we are a very welcoming and
experienced.
And experienced.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of lived experience.
So you mentioned early on about a crisis hotline.
Yes.
Right. Is that always going?
It is. Well, there's a community crisis hotline. That's one, and then we have suicide hotlines.
Okay.
But when we're open, a lot of people will call us, families who are in crises, that are saying, what do I do with my loved one? You know, he's in the hospital, or he won't go to the hospital, and how do I get them to the hospital?
Yeah.
Or they're homeless, and we know where they're at, and we want to get them help.
Right.
And so we consider that crises.
Yeah.
And what we do is we provide resources. Again, here's a phone number, here's a contact. Sometimes we often meet the individual and their family at the hospital.
Okay.
I've gone to meet families in the emergency room,
right,
just to help them and be of support when they're going through something that is frightening and scary, and you don't really understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty dedicated to show up at the hospital.
Yeah. Well, I've done that.
That's when people are the most vulnerable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They need answers.
They need answers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have any personal stories of great outcomes where someone started at this point and ended up at the far other end?
I do. I have one story in particular of a young lady that we were very close, that I kind of mentored for a long time. I did mentor for a long time. And she, over some years through her late adolescence, early 20s, I noticed a marked increase in just her being down, really not herself.
Okay.
And I felt grateful that we had the kind of rapport that I could say, are you okay, and what are you feeling like, and is something going on?
Right.
And she opened up to me, and I was really grateful for that. And by opening up to me, I was kind of shocked at what she had been living with. And
you hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it, all these thoughts she had been living with. I noticed that her mood had changed, but I didn't realize what was really going on inside. And since she has gotten a therapist, and she got a psychiatrist, and she got on medication, and exercise, of course, that always helps, but sometimes you need both.
Yeah.
And she's really a different individual. She's quite blossomed now, and she's more like herself. And I don't think at the time when I don't think she recognized that something was going on.
Yeah.
I recognized a change in her behavior.
And what kind of changes?
She was more withdrawn. She's a social person, so she was more withdrawn, kind of just ambivalent, just not really excited about life.
Okay.
Just kind of going through the motions day to day, going to work, going home, just isolated from friends. And I just noticed she hadn't been calling me a lot, and or just kind of reaching out.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we see in our loved ones something that's not quite right.
Right.
And it's okay to ask them if it's not quite right.
Yeah.
And let them know that it's okay that they're feeling a certain way.
It's okay to ask.
It's okay to ask.
Yeah.
And it really is okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not crazy. We don't like to use that word.
Yeah.
And you're not alone. And I think now she's volunteers with us. And
wow.
Yeah, she came back and she gives back because I think she realized that I can feel better. And I also have a lot of people and supports, people that care for me, friends and family that now understand what was going on.
Right.
And she can also be supportive to peers that are, or might be going through something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was, and there were times she did say to me that she felt like taking her life.
Wow.
And that's when I said, okay, you know what, we're going to have to see if we can get you some help.
Yeah.
And it's okay for people, a lot of times when we have a loved one that may threaten suicide or think, or even talk about it, or talk about not wanting to live,
right,
we are afraid to ask them pointed questions.
Yeah.
And it is okay to say, are you having thoughts of taking your life? That does not make someone want to take their life,
right,
or do it. Sometimes people just need to be able to say, you know, yeah, I'm not feeling good. I don't feel well. And you get those people to the hospital. You get them some help.
That's got to be really scary.
It is very scary. And it's scary to ask those questions because most of us are private people. And again, that stigma of being shamed because you're not feeling right, or you're not able to really work as much as you would like, or you're just missing a lot of days at work.
Yeah.
Because you just can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
You know, it's really okay.
Yeah.
It's okay
I think what you're doing is amazing, and I think you know, those hidden disabilities are very hard to when you manifest that. It's really hard to open up and admit that there's an issue.
Absolutely.
And I really I admire you guys in your organization.
Thank you.
So,
and in our family to family, that's what the families leave with. They're just like, it's an eye opener. This is something that there's no cure for mental illness.
Yeah.
But there's recovery, and there's hope. There's a lot of hope. And again, it's an invisible illness most of the time.
Okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's really okay.
Thanks so much. So, with appropriate effective medication and a wide range of services tailored to their needs, most people who live with serious mental illnesses can significantly reduce the impact of their illness and find a satisfying measure of achievement and independence. If you or a loved one have symptoms of a mental illness, please reach out to a medical professional and to NAMI, Michigan. That number is 517-485-4049, or visit their website at namimi.org. On behalf of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, we wish you a warm, safe, and happy holiday season. We'll see you next time on Ann Arbor Inclusive.